Right, so today we're going to be talking about part 2 to last week's video, where we're going to be talking about the actual shoot day. It could be a wedding, party, an event, wherever it is. We're talking about the actual day of the shoot and things you consider on the day. Let's go on with it. Alright, so we're back, and like I was saying, we're going to be talking about your actual shoot day today. So for us in particular, we're talking about a wedding, but again, this kind of stuff, it spans out to things like parties, events. I don't know, it could be even part of your job, maybe photographing a club or something. Whatever it is, whatever you're shooting, this video, hopefully today, will help you with thinking about the things that you need to consider on that day. And also, before we get into all that, I mean, look at this fancy little self. I mean, I said it last week, we didn't have a self like this, we're on the ground. But I mean, it's very YouTube-esque. It's very, well, I say YouTube, I mean, like the photographers, the videographers, people on YouTube always have this kind of self. I get why they do it, because it's pretty nice. I mean, I've got a bit of shadow on me. I mean, I can't really do much about it, but we wanted that distractors. Right, so jumping straight into it, I will tell you the most basic thing that I'm pretty sure anybody will tell you, but it's something that you definitely need to remember when you're out on your shoot. And it really is the most simple thing of just be confident and have confidence in your skills. Now, I know everybody will be saying that to you, and I'm saying that to you, but I mean, it is one of those things where if you think about it, let's say you hire someone just for anything. If you got someone who's a bit more, a bit timid, a bit nervous about, what you hire them to do, you obviously won't have that much confidence in them, and it makes sense. So even if you've got to, fake it a little bit, which I mean a lot of people do, honestly, I would say one thing they can do that really does just at least give off that you're confident is honestly just smile on your job. It's that simple. And I mean, maybe inside you don't feel the confidence brewing in you that much, but honestly, if you see someone smiling on the job, it's going to lift your mood, everybody's mood around you, you'll be doing well. So smile on the job. That's the first thing that shouldn't really be in this video, but it will help you. Trust me, it doesn't sound like it and it sounds kind of nonsense, but it will help you. Now, we're not going to make a habit of this, but I mean, last week we did talk about some boring stuff, the legal stuff. It's pretty boring. And what I'm going to come at you now with is also kind of, well, it's not boring, it's definitely important though, and it's something on the same lines of the legal stuff. It's the safety aspect of everything, of the whole day. Now, obviously, like I did say in the previous video, you do want to have your insurance set up, your liability insurance, that kind of stuff. And obviously there's a good reason for that, because there are times where, obviously it won't happen all the time, but I mean, all it takes is one time where, let's say, I don't know, you're photographing a party or something, and maybe you have wires kind of about, maybe you got a light set up, something like this. Because right now there's a wire there to this light, a wire from this wall to this light, so there are wires about, and it really does only take a couple of seconds for someone not to be looking maybe on their phone or something. Maybe they got a box, they're just not looking on the ground, they trip over, they hurt themselves, massive injury. And to be honest, if you don't have your liability insurance or any kind of insurance to cover you with that stuff, it's just not good news for anybody. So obviously getting insurance and stuff, sorted out, that's your pre-stuff though. What I'm saying about on the day, just to give you that, that bit more safety around yourself, one thing to always do with certain things like wires is bring duct tape the wires down to the floor. They won't be around the area. Try and always also just, I guess, cover them if you can. You can buy those, I forgot what you call them. It's like almost like a rubber mat, kind of like a hill that you put the wires inside of. And then they might be a bit expensive. I don't know, I've never even looked through them. I always just think duct tape, good enough. And also it's very visible, even though it's gray. Definitely see, even if you are just looking forward. Right now this is a black floor. The wires match the floor. That duct tape, you'd see it, it's there. So duct tape down, wires. Also make sure things like your lights are also, if you can, make them as safe as possible. So gain LED lights. Obviously, if that's not in your budget, you can use obviously things like, we call them hotheads, where they're kind of bulbs really. The thing is with LED lights, which is good, they don't really get that hot. I mean, obviously, if you're shooting for like, what, 8 hours, there'll be some heat coming off of them. But things like these hot headlights, which heat up after what, 5-10 minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes, they can get really hot, and that's also a danger. So let's say you are at a wedding, at a party, and you got kids running about, you got elderly people, not even that, just anybody walking about with these lights on. If they knock into them, they even knock the podium, the stand, that falls over, all dangerous. And I mean, like I was saying, kids, they'll be touching things, they see these lights, they're fascinated by it. They don't want to touch these lights, they're very fascinating. You touch that, you're gonna burn your fingers, that's not good. So if you can, definitely put them in areas which people aren't most likely to, touch them, get hold of them. Maybe put a bit of a barrier around them if you can, if it's possible. Sometimes that's not possible, but if you can, definitely think about it. But again, that's one thing. Safety is one big thing. So yeah, cover your wires, make sure things that can fall over or that are dangerous, like these lights, are covered in some way. Maybe even get sandbags, things like this kind of thing. I mean, it's not that heavy to hold, but if you put that on a stand, which I don't have at the moment, you put that on a stand and just put that on the base of it. Say you're saving yourself quite a bit of just worry, because those sandbags, they do hold down things like stands pretty well. So yeah, that's one thing. Make sure everything's safe. Also, on the topic of bags, one thing that you really want to remember, and it's pretty obvious, I'm pretty sure you might do this anyway, but one thing you definitely want to do is make sure you don't have any bags, any, again, wires, any lights, any kind of equipment covering any of the exits, just in case, if it does happen, maybe like a fire or something, just maybe you have to evacuate an area. You don't want to have all your stuff covering these exits, because people will be rushing, it's dangerous, some could fall. Again, this is it's a bit of a downer on the video, to be honest. I didn't expect to be this much of a downer for a video, but if it helps you, not getting sued and then putting people's lives in danger, it's probably worth being in the video. So yeah, that's another little safety precaution. Be as safe as you can. Now, one thing that I don't remember mentioning last week's video, I mean, I might have done, but I don't think I did. But anyway, I'll mention this video. One thing that you definitely want to consider, actually not consider, this is definitely something that should be a priority in your pre-planning as well. What you should do is, so the bride and groom, obviously they're bringing their family, their friends, and there are definitely some certain pictures that they want with certain people. So it might be things like certain family members, it could be certain friends, whatever it is, they'll have a list in their head of people they definitely want on camera, on film. So you want to make a list of these people, and definitely make sure, you can do it as early as possible, just to make sure that you've definitely got the pictures. Obviously throughout the night, the day, whatever, take more pictures of them along with everybody else. But you definitely want to have that essential list of people that they want, jot it down somewhere, maybe just like a notepad or something to keep in your pocket. Just, makes it a bit easier for you if you want to do that. But that's one definitely essential thing, because again, it's one of the things that I mentioned in last week's video, where you want to be considerate towards your clients. Obviously they're hiring you, and obviously you want to give them a good service. This just adds to it. You're showing them that you're taking into consideration what they want exactly. So essential photography, videography moments, write that down, jot it down, keep it with you. Now this next point, it's a bit of a new age point. It's something that people do consider a lot nowadays, and I'd say it's still kind of fairly new. Maybe introduced in the past 5 years, maybe I pushed 10 years, are drone photography and videography. So if you're using drones, you can get some really amazing shots, some footage with them, and it can really spice up maybe a video or some pictures, whatever. We don't use them that much, to be honest. I mean, it's maybe something it'd be good to get into, but I mean, that's future me problem. That's not right now. But anyways, if you are going to be using a drone, like I said, they are pretty cool. Obviously, there are safety things with them. Be safe with them. Don't go doing low shots if you're new to using them. You could crash into something. You could crash into someone else, into a person. Only really use them if you have experience for them and you got your license. Which brings me on to another little thing, is a lot of people don't know this, but there's actually a thing where people are getting sued or even just fined for using drones on property or around areas that they're not allowed because they don't have permission. So if you are, let's say, you are shooting a wedding and you're in some kind of maybe a park, maybe a field, just some location, and you haven't double checked that you can use a drone in that area, there could be a chance that you might get something later on saying, oh, you can't use this, you're not allowed to have this footage, you're not allowed to use it. So you might need permission, and the chances are, if you've got the footage, they might fine you. Might not go as far to sue you, but a fine is definitely likely. So make sure you have the license and you have the permission to do all your drone photography and stuff beforehand, because there's no point in you bringing it to your location, whatever, not allowed to use it, or if you do use it, like I said, getting fined. All that money you just made from this shoot went and spent on a fine. Don't want any of that. So make sure that you're liable to use it. Now, one weird thing that you might not expect from this video that I'll definitely need to bring up, because again, it's kind of a bit of safety. We'll put in the safety column to the safety section of this video. Now, one thing that you need to think about is definitely keep hydrated. I know you might be thinking, this is a photography video, what's that got to do with any photography? Well, you're out there for what, 8 hours, maybe I push 12 hours, I don't know what kind of shoot you're doing. But if you're out there for that long and you're not keeping hydrated, you're not eating properly, because to be honest, I will bring this up, for things like Asian weddings, they're like a 3-4 day kind of thing. So, and let's say you're shooting for 3-4 days and you're not keeping hydrated, you're not eating, that is pretty unhealthy, it's not very safe, and again, it's one of those things where it's not really to do specifically with your photography or video, your videography, but it's something you need to definitely do. So keep hydrated. I mean, there are a couple of times on a couple of shoots that we've done where, I mean, thankfully, none of us is, we haven't passed out, not that bad. But I mean, it gets to maybe day 2, day 3, definitely, where if you're on this cycle of not drinking water, not keeping hydrated, not eating, it gets to you feel lethargic, it's not good. And it could put a bit of pressure on the performance of when you're doing photography, all that kind of stuff. So definitely keep hydrated and eat oatmeal for breakfast. And honestly, that is all my notes for today. And I'm thinking, you know what, went through that, I feel pretty quickly, and I was pretty efficient with that. Again, this wasn't really so much specific things on the day of your shoot, because I'll be honest, a lot of the time it does change and it kind of wavers a bit depending on what you're doing. But I mean, the essential there, a massive thing about photography that nobody really discusses that much, I don't think so, at least on YouTube, at least from what I've seen, is the safety elements of a lot of this. Obviously, you'll be looking at stuff like how to do certain shots, which is good, but one thing that you need to definitely consider is a massive part is safety, just because, you want to be a reputable business, you want to be good and all that kind of stuff. Safety is key. And also, just to throw back to the very beginning of the video, be confident in what you're going to do, because I mean, think about it, there's a reason you got hired. So chances are whoever your client, they saw your stuff online, maybe they saw some pictures where maybe they got referred to you by a friend or a family or something. So there is a reason that you're getting hired, and that reason is they like your stuff. So just keep think in your head, if you ever do feel a bit down on the day, or think, am I good enough? Or even maybe not even on the day, maybe before the shoot, maybe even if you're thinking about messaging a client, you haven't messaged them yet, and you're thinking in your head, there's that little thing that's just in the back of your head, thinking, should I message them? Am I good enough? Just always think, you know what, I've had clients before, I'm good at this. Just keep up that positive vibe, you should be good. But anyway, that is the end of the video. It's kind of sad because I did spend not a lot of time, just a decent amount of time setting up these lights, and it's only going to be like for a couple 10-minute video, but then that's all right. It's good practice for next time when we do this kind of thing again, which hopefully we will do it again. But anyway, thank you for watching the video. Hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.